Yo guys, welcome to The Last Lap. Don't forget to drop a lovely, juicy 5-star rating if you're watching on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. Mercedes haven't had questions for a long time, and they've changed things up now. Mm-hmm. What do we think of... Do we think that's the right move?
I think... Look, there was a lot of criticism around Mercedes and their side pod concept and whether they would change things and stuff. And then lots of talk around Toto Wolff and whether this was the right decision. He's come out and made this managerial change, if you want to say it like that, and whether it's the right thing to do. Does it send the right message? But I think it's good. And apparently, from what I've heard, Mike Elliott was actually the one who brought this up. He had a technical meeting. He suggested this change. And, you know, Allison, he is a pioneer of the sport. Probably only Adrian Newey comes ahead of him when we're talking about
He's right up
dynamicist.
there for sure,
He's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So much success. Renault was fantastic in those years with Alonso. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good shake-up, but we're not going to see an immediate change. It's just not going to happen like that.
Yeah,
If
you're not
anything,
even going to see anything this season.
yeah, he's already said, you know, apparently he's up to his neck in it already. So you can tell they've got so much work to do already, and I think Mercedes fans would agree with that. It's not going to make any difference towards this season, but maybe next year, that's where we'll see that be, you know, come into question. So it's going to be a tough one.
Well, I think because...
I'm back in a title race next season. Let's fucking have it.
Can you imagine?
I mean...
Insane.
Alonso v Verstappen.
Oh, give it to me now. That'd be insane.
That would actually
be wicked.
genuinely makes me feel a certain way. Yeah.
And this is why, like, I want to... Yes, Red Bull are on top at the minute comfortably, but I just want to be... I want to be patient with these regulations, and I want to be patient with these teams, because ultimately you can regulate to your heart's content, but it's up to the teams to make the right decisions, spend efficiently, get the right people
Be
in.
competent.
Yeah, and look, I think the Allison thing, for example, in case people didn't know, I think there's more context to why Allison moved. You know, he was at Ferrari in 2016, and then his wife suddenly passed away, and he decided to leave Ferrari, came back to the UK because he wanted to be closer to family, joined Mercedes, and then he kind of, you know, it got to a stage, I think, where he was feeling very overwhelmed by the job, because it's that when you're technical leads for an F1 team, that's an incredibly...
Just going through title battles every single season.
Yeah.
Manic.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to look at Mercedes and be like, oh, yeah, they just walked it like those years. No, but there's a reason that they look that good, because they were working that hard and they were doing that well, and it's an all-encompassing job. So he then decided to move to a more kind of top level, you know, 3 days a week, but then working on various different projects and more overseeing the... And then that's where Mike Elliott moved into his role as the more kind of technical lead on that specific car. Yeah. But again, it sounds like from that, he did an interview, didn't he, with F1 Nation, like a podcast. And it sounds like, you know, he's taken some time away from the high pressure environment and now seems, you know, happy and excited to come back, which is the main thing. Because ultimately,
man. Sometimes you can burn out as well.
Exactly.
Like,
they're
This
human.
sport is
ultimately.
non-stop.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's so many people that make up the technical makeup of the car and the company. Like, it's a business at the end of the day, and there's so many people that make up Formula One, and you've got to oversee all of that.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And let's not forget that Allison was responsible for that 2020 Mercedes car that was just a rocket ship. I don't think we'll ever see a car that's faster than that. I mean, Red Bull was quick now, but that was just a menace. So for them to make that change, I think it says a lot about Mercedes as an organisation, Toto, and the direction they want to move in. They are not happy. I mean, this is not a substantial drop-off. Let's be clear. Lots of teams would be killing to be in third position.
Yeah.
But they want to do something, and they want to do it quick, and I'm pretty scared as a Red Bull fan that they're going to come back sooner rather than later, I'll be honest.
Well, do we? Because I know, like, Christian's talked numerous times this year about, like, his concerns that the other teams are going to catch up, because obviously they've got a lot less aero CFD time relative, particularly to Aston Martin, who've got, like, not far off double what Red Bull have got.
That difference is going to be crazy.
Until the end of June anyway. Like, I want to believe it, and I understand why Christian's putting that energy out there, because, like, that's what he needs to be prepared for as team principal. He needs to be prepared for everyone to catch up, because you need to, you know, prepare for the worst case scenario. But do we actually think that's going to happen? Like, we have only had 3 races and we've had this big break. So
I mean, you got teams bringing, like, big upgrades upcoming as well. You got McLaren deciding to bring a whole new car.
They need to at this point.
They really do, mate, honestly. I saw it in the car park at Buckmore for the Quadrant filming. It looked a lot like a Ford KA. It was crazy.
it's funny that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think, I'm not going to lie, I think Red Bull are still going to have like a pretty solid advantage for a lot of this season, but you are going to see that development start to come into play, or lack of wind tunnel time as the season goes on. Probably in a similar vein that you had last season, where you had Ferrari and Red Bull very level, and then you just saw Red Bull just start to move off into the distance. I think you'll almost see like an accordion effect where they'll start to come back.
Good analogy.
That's a good analogy, isn't it? It's all right.
That's really good.
Yes, come on, man.
Come on, that's a point on the board.
Yeah, sort of move everyone back together again.
Yeah.
But I think the advantage that Red Bull have at the moment, it will be enough that they're not going to be concerned come the end of the season in terms of losing constructors or anything like that.
What do you think about Horner's comments then? Because is that like a tactical kind of play? Because obviously he's got to be speaking for the team.
Yeah.
Like Toto came out with that apology a couple of weeks ago for Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
That is
And
mad.
rightly or wrongly,
That was bad.
I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
I think it's so
was
weird.
nuts.
I
What do you think?
don't
Do you think
get
it's a
it.
good
Over the top.
Really?
Yeah. I like the sort of, I like honesty, and I like the idea that a team knows, right, this isn't really going that great, lads. Sorry about that. Let's try and sort it out. Do you get me? But in that scenario, I was kind of like, that's fucking hell. It's not.
I don't think like it's clear and obvious like that Mercedes aren't where they want to be.
Yeah.
And they've made it very clear, like, whether it's Toto, whether it's Lewis, whether it's George speaking, like putting that out, I don't think that achieves anything. If anything, that just draws more attention, it draws more like, it draws more criticism from people outside, and it just, I don't know. I think they're trying to appease the fan base who, have been used to such a, competitive car for so long and now aren't. And I get that. You adjust your expectations.
I guess maybe it might be sort of like our drivers are speaking about how we should have listened to them. Let's try and combat this by going, right, okay, we know we've kind of fucked this up, lads. Not going to lie to you. Let's, we're going to try and do our best. I think maybe if you don't get the Lewis Hamilton comments of like, I told the team what direction to go down.
Big.
I don't think you get that. That's big dick energy fact. I don't think you get that statement, to be honest.
And the thing is, like, drivers make those kind of comments like all the time. It's just when you're Lewis Hamilton in Formula One, like you look at all other motorsports and teams are critical of the drivers are critical of their teams. I don't even remember the, it's such good team radio. Try and find it if you can, after you've listened to this podcast, of course.
Yeah, 5-star rating.
Is it Giancarlo Fisichella in a Renault, and his engineer's like saying like, you're so many tenths slower than Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
Like, you need to speed up.
Get
what
a
are you
grip,
doing?
boss. Yeah.
Like, he's literally like rinsing him.
There was
on
an
the
F2
radio.
one recently as well, like a couple of years ago. It was Deruvala, wasn't it? And the guy was just like, just drive faster, boss.
I saw that. It popped up on my Twitter feed like the last couple of days.
Yeah.
What? That is insane. Like, can you imagine that?
I'd be fuming. It would fire me up a lot, to be fair, if I heard that on team radio.
Did you hear him?
Just drive me.
Did you hear Nick Cassidy's radio, by the way? If we were on team radios in Formula E.
He was fuming at his teammate, wasn't he?
Buemi, yeah.
Oh, that one.
Buemi was like kind of maybe holding him up. He felt he was holding him up.
Yeah.
But he was just going on like this rant.
It was really passive aggressive, wasn't it? It was just like,
what a great teammate he is.
He tried to do the, is it Gino D'Acampo meme? When it's like, if mine's a bike or
If my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bike.
He tried to do that, but he got it like all mixed up, and it was
Which
like,
made it even better. It's so good.
It made it.
It's like Brent stuff, isn't it?
Brent.
Yeah,
Imagine that as your team boss and then just Brent comes.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Fuming.
I reckon Zach Brown could be a bit of a David Brent. I could see Zach Brown as well. But look, I think we look at this sport and we talk about we've talked about like Ricciardo. I think there's a sense of burnout with Daniel. At the end of his McLaren time, but also that extends to everyone. I mean, I saw a friend of the channel, Blake. He put a tweet out about 5 races in 6 weekends being a load of shit, basically, and. It's mad.
He's worked in the sport as well. It's very valid sort of,
It's fascinating to me how many people don't understand that just because there's no racing doesn't mean people are not working. Like, these people working flat out in the factories.
Everyone's gone Bahamas for like 3 weeks.
Do people, how many people can't fathom that?
Yeah.
Like, it's mad to me. I don't get it. Like he works it, like it's 5 races in 6 weekends all around the world.
Yeah.
Is ridiculous.
Yeah, because the calendar, I saw a tweet about a month ago, I want to say, and it was like working out the air miles between each Grand Prix and showing how actually really inefficient it actually is. Like, we go back and forth. Like, why the fuck is Canada realistically in the middle of the European season? It's just a tradition, isn't it? Oh, we go there in
you
July.
think-
But the reality is, I don't know why we do that.
Dominic Cardi's gone, oh, we'll switch up. Like, why not? Like,
Yeah,
it's getting a bit boring now. We've been in Europe for a long time.
yeah.
I think some of it is like contracts. So, like, say a
probably is,
venue has a
yeah.
contract till 2028. Like Australia just signed to,
Forever.
like, yeah, it's like 2030 something.
It's
or something
ridiculous.
Mad. So I guess that ties them into that, like that time. And I guess certain countries, like weather, certain periods of the year, you don't want to be going to, say Austin at certain times of the year, maybe because it's Texas
True.
and it's
Yeah,
like,
Qatar in like August. Could you imagine?
I understand it's not like, but I just think the sport league, because I mean, it's that mileage that contributes to way more of the carbon footprint, like exponentially more than the actual cars themselves.
Yeah, facts. Yeah.
So if you actually want to be this like environmentally sustainable, like, talking about this 100% sustainable fuel in 2026. So if you want to really actually like do that genuinely and not just be like, you know, pushing this message because it's, you know, greenwashing essentially. You're essentially greenwashing the sport. Like, yeah, you need to look at these things. Because, I mean, with 23 races this year, it should have been 24. It will be 24 next year. You can almost guarantee that. And it may be more, like 25.
They want 30 eventually. That's the kind of the rumours that's coming out. Can you imagine 30 races in a year? The toll that puts on everyone.
You'd have to change out your staff after each season almost. You'd actually have to like rotate
Recycle,
staff
like,
genuinely like
rolling
every
stuff,
other
yeah.
year.
They would have to, they'd have to make concessions to
Yeah.
like, if you're going to have more races, like, because again, when you turn up at a Grand Prix, you're not turning up on the Friday and then going straight. Like, you're turning up on like Tuesday, Wednesday, and then working like 15, 16-hour days, like jet lagged, like away from your family. Like, it's a lot. So
and when it's back-to-back Grand Prix, you don't go home. You just go to the next one.
It's like Bernie Collins came out the other day and said it on Sky Sports.
Yeah.
Saying, you know, you finish one week, you get basically a day, and then you're in for preparing the next week. And with this 5-week thing going on right now, just race back to back to back. How many days do you get off? And, you know, it's a sport that they love and they live and breathe, right?
Yeah.
But there's got to be some leeway to having some time to reset, and then you can be sharp and go back into it, because it's a sport of such fine details that, you know, you lose however many tenths by getting something wrong. Like, and I know it's the whole crew that come together, but I think it's mad.